Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
All in on systems. Like, there is no doubt, like, Con, if you think about it, that when you walk into a McDonald's, if you're going to be like joining the kitchen crew, right, that they just say, oh, you know, hey, there are the fries, have a crack. Yeah. Just have a go, see what you think. I'm pretty sure that inside of that business that they would have a way that they do that, a systemized process, a conversation about the fries being at minus 35 degrees, a conversation of the oil being at 65 degrees, dropping those fries into the canister that then drops into the oil, stays there for a minute and a half, comes out onto the drying rack, add the salt. Literally, they can stay there for a maximum of 10 minutes before they need to be sold or thrown out. Like, that's probably an important conversation. Con, how important is it for people to go all in on systems to run a great business?
Well, it depends on what they want out of business.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a small business, you're probably not going to be worried too much about systems and processes and, you know, being able to, you know, utilize them for scale.
Yeah.
In a business like ours and lots of other businesses across the country, systems are 100% absolutely mission critical. And so what we've got to be looking at is how can we make the boats go faster at every opportunity? So system that suited us when we were doing 90 transactions a year at Parramatta absolutely couldn't survive at 790 transactions. And so I think for us that if we don't have a system, then anarchy and chaos occur. And we've seen that when we've had, you know, periods of up to 30% growth where the systems, you know, that we had that could service us at that period of time no longer serve us today.
And so this is a great conversation because at the end of the day, what are systems designed to do? And one of the arguments is that, like, systems are designed to reduce errors. So, like, literally, you don't want to keep on making that same mistake over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, you need to make sure that you've got the car registered against the right room number at the hotel.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the person from the hotel to walk down and take the wrong car.
Yeah.
You know, like that's an important thing. So, like, that's what it's all about, is systemization. Systems are also about, like, maximizing performance.
Absolutely.
So if we're thinking about how we take a coffee order and we're running a coffee shop, that's really important because one off is okay, but if we all of a sudden get 30 orders all of a sudden at exactly the same time, how do we manage those orders and make sure that that's really clear? Right?
Have you ever, like, stopped and gone to a coffee shop and there's literally, you order your coffee and 9-10 minutes later you're still waiting and you're like, how have they not systemized this? They know that everyone's going to be drinking coffee first thing in the morning. Why is there not a process put around this to be able to speed it up? That's our highest profit and highest yielding product of every single day. Let's nail it so we can do more. So for us,
what's even more awkward is when they keep on saying Carl, and then you realise you gave them a fake name.
Yeah.
It's like,
you forgot your name.
And you're the only person at the coffee shop.
I'm usually Norman. I always like trying on names.
Right, so this is interesting about, like, maximising performance and then also too making them teachable.
Yeah.
So like, you know, we get a lot of this, you know, like, I need to do it, you know, so like I'm the agent, so I need to negotiate with the buyer and I need to present the offer forward to the owner. And sure, there are some circumstances where that is definitely required, but on average, like, I mean, to say you want to employ people that are as good as you, if not better than you. And the foundational idea is that if they're better than you, then that's a completely different outcome. Because now all of a sudden you can actually have them do that function, and I'm the opposite now. I'm like, I like lose control. I'm just, you just do it, man. Just have a massive.
What happens when you get to 40, bro?
Well, I'm not there yet, but that basic idea is about thinking very differently. Because the whole conversation is that when you think about teachable, okay, if I'm going to take an offer from you, Con, I write out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
So okay, great. And are you going to be buying in your own name, or also in your wife's name as well, Emily? Okay, great. And by the way, in terms of deposit, usually that's 10%. How would that work for you? And do you have a real estate solicitor as yet? Okay, great. And then in addition to that, it's normally a 42-day settlement. How would that work for you? And most people, from a conditional point of view, have you got your finance sorted? Would you buy a copy of a Pest and Build? So, Con, it looks like we've got most things here. So based on what you've seen, where do you feel the value lies? Like, obviously, we see a lot of value at $1 million. Could you see your way forward if it meant that you own the home? Now, all of a sudden, that's a set of systems. And literally, when you don't have that, then all of a sudden that becomes an issue. And I love this. Like, hey, Con, I've got this great listing. Can you come out to it? Sure, Josh. Why is the seller selling?
Yeah.
Oh, not sure. Is there anyone else who's going to be involved? Oh, not sure. Tell me about the property. I don't know. I think it's a house. Like, as opposed to, we're going to a 3-bedroom home. It's a job relocation. They're moving to Noosa. They need to be there by Christmas. They're in a position that's a divorcing couple. Like literally, so one's moving, the other one's going to stay local, who's going to rent. Like, is that a different way that you'd play that game because the systems allowed you to understand more about the customer?
Absolutely, 100%. What's that saying? You're probably going to say it a lot better than me, that if you got to go and do something repeatedly, so you show someone once or twice, or by the third time, that's now a system. You got to create a system. So then that way it's a foolproof way of A, delivering or guaranteeing a result, B, making sure you reduce those errors, and C, making sure you maximize performance.
And so McDonald's is about this whole idea that they would say, let's teach some 14-year-olds to say, would you like fries with that? And they made $1 billion from that.
Yeah.
So if you continue to say, oh, no, that wouldn't happen in our business, well, that's a problem because you got to start thinking about it. Let's say that a property manager is working with a landlord. Quick question for you. Do you own any other properties in your portfolio that we might be able to look after for you?
$1 billion question.
Okay. I was just wondering, hey, Con, would you like to grow your portfolio over time? The only reason I say that is we've got some investment properties. I'd love to send you a link to those. Con, the other key thing I was just wondering, I noticed that you live locally in Parramatta and we've never been out to your home to give you an idea on what it's worth. If you had some extra equity there, maybe now's a good time to maybe consider it. Did you want me to get Amit and one of the team to pop over? Give you an idea of the numbers so then you can make those decisions.
Yep.
Now, what is that, a BDM function? Or is that actually a sales function? Is that a property manager function? But you know what? No one's actually doing it. And so that's why there's millions of dollars of leads that are leaking out the front door of your business because you're not thinking that to teach, train and test, the absolute core essentials, that if you just ask that question, then everything else changes.
Yeah, that's gold. I like that. I'm going to use that.
So when you think a little bit about what systems are and, a quick upskill on this, because I think about a lot, is the first one is what we actually go to call forms. Now, I was really lucky in that my dad is really, really driven around systemization of the business. And day one of me turning up as a fully fledged salesperson inside of his business, we had these little cards and they were like index cards, and one was called the blue form and the other one was called the green form. And the blue form was for, filling that out when you're there working with a seller, and the green form was there working with a buyer. So what I didn't realize is they were quality questions that qualified.
Right.
So I was in this position that all of a sudden one day reception rings and says, hey Josh, I've got this lady down in the front reception and she would like to sell a house. And then Robin, who was our operations person at the time, said, that means bring the blue form. And I was like, okay, great. So what I did is I got the blue form. I went down there. I met the lady, had a conversation. I literally filled out the form. And before you know it, I listed a property without even seeing it. And the interesting conversation is that we asked all of the key questions. Turns out it was a key customer of Dad's in the past, and literally there's a whole range of things. But what the form did is it allowed me to ask the key questions. So what's the reason for the sale? What would you like to get for it? Tell me a little bit more about that. How long have you owned the property for it? How many improvements have you done to it? Is there anyone else helping you to make that decision? And so all of a sudden, forms can actually scale people quickly. It's about capturing information. One of the big problems in the digital age is that often the forms that are sitting inside of the CRM don't map to how the conversation naturally flows.
Yes.
So the form is being designed respectfully by the designer or the engineer of that system, but they're not in the conversation to actually know, when do I ask bed, bath, car? What does that look like? And poor questions would be, how many bedrooms do you have? How many bathrooms do you have? How many, as opposed to, hey, Con, tell me about the home. Was a 3-bedroom, double lock-up garage with a double bathroom, over 2 stories. And so you start thinking really differently. That's contextual information. Now, forms are goddamn cool, man. They need to be sexy. They need to be lickable. And if the best people in your organisation don't use them, then no one else will.
Our entire business runs off forms.
Yeah, sure.
So you've seen our agent hub.
Yeah.
So every single part of the actual transaction. So now what I'm thinking about is we've got that back end nailed, right? And now all we've got to do is keep, working on it, right? It's the front end sales system where this is absolutely critical, right? So imagine all those questions. You're right, going to a listing appointment, being qualified, adding that extra one question from your property management division. This is critical stuff, right?
And then the next conversation is that beyond having a form, and because that's capturing information, is that then you need to make sure you got a checklist. Now, checklists come in 2 ways. There's a read and review and then a read and do checklist.
Yep.
So when you make pancakes for Emily and I, as an example, you have a read and review checklist.
You know we don't cook that.
Okay, but the basic idea is that literally you have some flour, you have some milk, you have an egg, and once you've got those, that's the read and review. I've got everything. Then you then do the read and do. So the read and do is you put in the flour, you add the egg, you add the milk, and you stir it and you get it to a point where it's really smooth and consistent, and then ultimately you heat up the pan and you add the oil and then you do it. And so there's a process there. So that's what checklists are about. Now, the other day I sold a property and then I got the contract.
You can't do that.
The other day, I put up the sold sticker and then I ordered the sign.
Yeah.
So things need to go in the right order. So this is a really important conversation, because beyond forms and checklists, then you then go to visuals. Now, your business is really dynamic. It's about selling and telling a story. What's the highest sale price, the lowest sale price, average sale price? What suburbs do you hold records in for house sales, unit sales? What sort of market penetration have you got? What market share data have you got? How many buyers do you meet at open for inspections? How many buyers do you meet in January during your Super Saturday experience, as opposed to maybe buyers that you might meet in December? And so this is about being able to sell some incredible stories, because data and insight provide capability.
Absolutely.
So when you're scaling and, 100 plus, type salespeople, how do you make sure that they know the latest on the key numbers that are news stories that you can be weaving? And that's what a visual does, right?
Yeah, correct. I think for us, when we didn't have the scale that we had, and we were operating, at a very small level at Parramatta, we had 4 agents. We used those visuals for case studies to give us equity in our marketplace, to be able to demonstrate how we outperformed a competitor, or how we, managed to break a suburb record or something like that. So I think the key with visuals is that they will tell a story that someone will interpret, that will give them an ability to act, right? And the beauty about that from a sales perspective, or even a property management perspective, is it gives you data, it gives you information, ammunition in your toolbox to be able to actually go and have a meaningful conversation with someone that might hit relevance.
So this is interesting, because the final part of the system, forms, checklists, visuals, is then dialogues. And dialogue is about moving to increase the speed, but also to improve the conversion of the conversation.
Yes.
So, have you bought locally before? Innocent question. Yes, I have. Wow, now he's a seller, or he's an owner?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And what are your plans that are existing when you buy the next? Oh, Josh, I might lease it out. Bang, property management lead. Yeah. Oh, to be honest, I might sell it. Bang, sales lead. Such an innocent question. Oh, have you bought locally before? No, I haven't. Okay, great. And what's the reason for the purchase today? Are you buying something to move into, or something to invest? Oh, it's going to be something to move into. We're moving from Cronulla.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you own one out at Cronulla? Yeah, we do. Hey, look, we've got a great office there. I might refer that to our Cronulla office and see whether they might be able to assist. Bang, 20% referral.
Yeah.
So the difference is that the guns really know why they ask a very specific question. So probably one of the worst things in real estate training is that people would say more questions. And I just want to know, what's the linchpin question which changes how it goes?
Yeah, the one that puts the key in the door that opens and unlocks a conversation.
Sure. So, what's the reason for the sale? I've got a job relocation. Now, in that, I've got 2 choices. Oh, what do you do for work? Or where are you moving to? Oh, I'm moving to Noosa. When did you need to be there by? I need to do that by February. Okay, great. And is work going to be helping you to pay for the relocation costs? Yeah, they are. Okay, now all of a sudden, marketing cost, agency fee, those are not issues. And so this is really what skill is about getting to proper systemization on the inside of your business. And if the best agent in the team doesn't do it, there's no way that the new person's going to do it either. So you got to follow these systems and deeply ingrain. And that's why, for me, it's about, let's re-workshop that form. Is there a better question today? Have we found a better way to do this?
Yeah.
So then that form is updated in the digital world, but also in the manual world. Yeah. And I know that sounds funny, but in the manual world, sometimes there is still places for paper forms, so to speak, that absolutely take people through a training or a learning experience before you put them into the digital environment, and teaching people why you've got to go and fill those things out.
Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
I was in this position, Con, that my dad had really chased down the iOS 9001, and basically that was the quality endorsed stickers that used to sit on the back of helmets. Yeah. And we were, I believe, the first and only estate agency of the day to actually be an ISO 9001 endorsed
quality
firm.
Assured.
So what they did is that they actually came in and they would test us to make sure that we're using the forms, checklists, and visuals and dialogues every 6 weeks. So we were audited externally to make sure that was actually happening in the file. It was fascinating. Now, the interesting thing is that what I learned there was a story about the tiny teddy. And this is an old one. It's been around for a while, but it is a really important one. So Con goes down to a coffee shop and Con buys a coffee. When he gets there, that's a normal or standard level of experience. The next time Con goes down to the same coffee shop, he buys a coffee. This time they put a tiny teddy on the top of the actual coffee.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden that is above the expectations. So
Correct.
Con is delighted with his experience and goes home and has that conversation with his wife. Hey, you got to come to this coffee shop.
Yeah.
She comes to the coffee shop. They keep going there over a period of time. The tiny teddy keeps on turning up on top of the coffee. Now what was above the expectations soon becomes the norm. One day, Con is all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to invite my friend Joshua across and we're going to go down and get a coffee here. And we go there and there's new owners and there's no more tiny teddy anymore. And so what was a normal level of experience is now below. So the lesson is that we've got to be very careful about what you add to your service, because that must be something the customer sees as being valuable.
Yes.
And it must be something the customer is actually prepared to pay for, because else you get margin creep where all of a sudden it's costing a lot more to provide the same service, but you're actually not able to charge for it in a way the customer actually cares about it.
Yeah, right. That's a gold one. One idea that's rapidly shaping my thinking at the moment is that the fish are at your feet. What I mean by that is there's so much opportunity right in front of us everywhere. So let's unpack that a little bit. Your database, your territory in terms of your total addressable market, the people that are sitting in your seats across all levels of a business, whether you're a front office manager or a leasing officer or a field services officer or a sales agent. The thing is, though, we are making things so difficult because what we're looking for is something that's different or something that's new, or we need a new design or a social tile or a letterbox drop or whatever it might be. All the gold is right in front of us. What we've got to learn how to do is to be able to sift through that and find the gold.
Shiny toy syndrome.
Yep.
Just do good work and don't chase the shiny toys.
Yeah, completely agree.
Something that's changing your view.
You know what, Con? I just think that business models are a real thing, disguised as opportunities, but each of them brings their own upside and downside. And I hear people go, oh, I'm going to go to this particular business because they're going to give me 100% of the fees. And I'm like, okay, great. You get 100% of the GCI, but they also tell you to get 100% of the expenses.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Okay, great. Well, don't you realize that like there's expenses? Oh, yeah, but they're going to do the admin. Okay, great. And how much is that going to cost you? Oh, it's 30 or 35% or whatever the story is. Okay, great. Well, just have a quick look at that, because last time I checked, 30% of 300 grand is $90,000, and that would be a really good EA. And then if you then start thinking about that, then they're going to need an office to go to because they don't want to work from your bedroom. That's like 35,000. And so you start like adding systems and subscriptions, and before you know it, you actually realize that you're much better to understand that you should stay inside of your own model. So sometimes the problem is that we look at models that we don't understand and we jump at them, when we should be in a position where we really analyze it properly. And it's kind of like, oh, we get a better split there, but that's after this and after this and after this and after this. Yeah, but like literally the reality of it is that what am I actually getting today that's already paid for that I actually don't have to worry about?
I think there's a really good saying there. The grass is greener where you water it, not on the other side.